Welcome back, Rankers. I just showed you that because that's why I can't talk properly this week. I went to the football on Sunday and felt the need to share some of my thoughts with the umpires on the ground at the time. So apologies, I'm not sick. I just overdid it a bit on Sunday at the football. Anyway, but let's just get back to what we're talking about the last 2 weeks, because it's turned into such a fun subject, and it's a subject that just keeps on giving. Not so much about Fairfax this time, but more about a couple of other things that I want to show you. First of all, here's a search I've done for Fairfax and Getup, and that was based on last week's show. You can see here we've got the top 3 spots. Now, one of them is our own site, stuartmedia.biz. The other one is dailymotion.com. The other one is MetaCafe. Interestingly, YouTube hasn't turned up there. When I do a search for videos, I just want to show you something else. Of the 10 results on that page, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4... Hang on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's pretty good for Fairfax and Getup. So the reason I'm showing you this is wasn't really hard to rank for. But there are a lot of phrases out there that might be in the news that aren't necessarily hard to rank for. Because what happens is that the news sites are changing all the time, and they're archiving stuff, and it's going out of the site maps, and it's been placed elsewhere, and it disappears. And the Google News site itself, it ranks things based on, there's a time factor involved. So the older a story gets, the less relevant it becomes to a particular search. So there are a lot of things that you can do that you can actually, as our good friend David Meerman Scott and Klein says, he talks about newsjacking. And if you just do a search for newsjacking, I'm sure we'll find David. Here we go. We'll go to David. He hasn't asked us to rank him for that phrase. Just saying. But anyway, he's number 4. So, wow, David's lost weight. You look good. He looks good, doesn't he? He's lost a lot of weight. Anyway, so he's got a book out called Newsjacking, and David's theory is all about if a story is breaking in your industry, inject yourself into it, not by saying, hey, look at me, but by actually contributing to the story. So becoming, as David often says, becoming the second paragraph in the news story so that you can talk to something else, whatever's happening in industry. What I want to show you today is a little bit about the techniques around ranking in Google search and video and YouTube for those sorts of things. So, for instance, last night here in Australia, we had the person that we were talking about, or the organisation that we were talking about in the original story from last week from Getup, the CEO of Getup, I think he's the CEO, might be managing director or director, anyway, guy who is heading it up, a guy called Simon Shake. He was on this live television news program, and I just want to show you what happened. Now, ironically, we're going to the age.com.au, a Fairfax publication, to see what happened.
Has no cost is entirely fallacious, and I'll just give you one brief example. The cost of...
I shouldn't laugh, and it's funny. It's like, what's your worst nightmare of going onto live television? Well, passing out and doing a faceplate on the desk, I guess. But seriously, you don't blame him. I mean, this guy's incredibly boring and monotonous. However, the big story today was all about this woman, Sophie Mirabella. Let's watch some more.
Getup chief Simon Shake collapsed on live television during ABC's Q&A program on Monday night.
So what did she think he was doing? I don't know. She thought he was like, no, what? Nothing to worry about there. Anyway, in fairness to her, I attended a major emergency in our street 8 years ago or something. The house across the road was burning down. And there were about 3 or 4 of us that went to try to find out if there's anybody in the house and tried to put out the fire and everything else. Meanwhile, there was 50 people standing around watching. The police said that's what tends to happen in these situations. In situations of emergency, there are some people that will just sit there and, like Sophie Mirabella. So, in fairness to her, that's a natural reaction, apparently. Mind you, none of these other clowns did tell me much in that first few minutes either. This guy kept on talking. Oh, God. Anyway, look at this navigation around the Fairfax video. Oh, that's right, you can't see it because there isn't any. So, yeah, right, okay, we're going to leave that site. But I wanted to show you that because I'm talking about Sophie Mirabella and Getup and those sorts of things. We're going to go and write a blog post around that because that's what we're talking about. And we're going to see who else is ranking. Now, interestingly, the ABC, which is the broadcaster, the national broadcaster, where that show was aired last night live, didn't actually rank for it. Okay, so I've done Sophie Mirabella Getup. I couldn't think of the guy's name. As you saw, I don't know. Managing director, I don't know. Spell it. I'll spell it wrong. I'll just put Getup. I know Getup, right? So think about what the people are searching for in the media or the story. It could be something about the Olympics. It could be something, an event happening outside the Olympics, or a major fashion show around the Olympics. Of course, whatever it is, you can talk about it and rank for it a lot easier than what you might think. And it's just by following all the things that we've said all along, and we continue to say for about the last 8 years. It hasn't really changed. You've just got to be, more engaging these days. You've just got to produce more content these days. That's probably the main difference. So, how did we get those 10 spots for video in the video search? I'll show you. Let's just go, we go Getup, we go, what was the other thing? Fairfax. Someone was knocking at my door. Fairfax, and there's our article there. We're at .com.au. The result I was showing you before was at .com. So we'll go back to .com. We're at .com. Okay, now I'm going to go into a search for video. I want to show you something, because if you're doing a lot of video, and I know a lot of you are these days, there's some techniques and some things that you can do where you will get found more often. And you just noticed in that last search I did that these two here are the actual videos. One's MetaCafe, one's Dailymotion, the other is our blog where we have the video that is actually embedded in YouTube, but YouTube doesn't come up here. So if we have a look at the video search results page, now I just want to show you a few things. Dailymotion, MetaCafe, different videos, YouTube, same video as this one. Dailymotion, this is a video from weeks and weeks ago. This is from a video back in May. And that's because the way that the Dailymotion, sorry about my voice, it sounds sexy though, doesn't it, don't you think? I think it does. They've got more information on the page about my other videos, and what happens to be there at the moment is Fairfax and Getup. So Google is going and ranking that. Okay, so these different video channels will give you different opportunities, multiple opportunities, to actually embed keywords on your video page simply by producing the content about those things that you want to rank for, and you will appear. So you can it's actually sometimes easier to get your video appearing in universal search, which is this, because these sites will allow you, Google will go, and let's go and have a look at one. Google will go and look at other information on the page, and it will pick up the links to the other videos on that page, which are all mine. Unlike YouTube, it doesn't do that with YouTube. Unfortunately, being MetaCafe, it won't load. Thank you. So we'll go back. So the way that I do this, and a lot of people ask me this, how do you publish out to so many, let's go back to the video search. How do we publish out to so many video channels? It's really quite easy. You just go to a site called oneload.com, ONELOAD.com. It's free. We upload to our iTunes there. Incidentally, hey, we're now on iTunes again. We were back in 2005, but it all just became too hard. Hey, if you use iTunes, if you're into what we used to call podcasts, and apparently we still do, and I don't know why, let me know, because we'll make a bigger deal out of it. But I actually don't. I know probably one person that watches or listens to podcasts. So if you have a look at these videos here, and this is Fairfax Getup is the search. These are all my videos. Why? And you have a look at this here. We've got the age in there, but there's no embedded video. And this is a video search. See, we've got videos over here. It's all video search, but this thing here, Fairfax, totally irrelevant, except, well, for the word Fairfax, of course. And then we've got a word there. And so there must be a video that Google's detected somewhere on the page. But because of their coding, it's not getting a thumbnail pulled out and put into the search results. You've got to do those things. That helps people click through. No one's going to click through on that. They're all going to click through on my stuff. So you've got Daily Motion. You've got, they're all Daily Motion, actually. Daily Motion, Daily Motion, Daily Motion, Daily Meta Cafe, and Daily Motion. So I would say on those results, maybe you want to spend a little bit more extra time on Daily Motion and get some opportunity to get some more keywords embedded into the results. So have a think about, I mean, look, I'm newsjacking right now, right? It's not relevant to the story in any way, shape or form, but I'm just using that story to do some edutainment and get some points across. And all of these things, the reason I'm ranking for, look, Fairfax Getup, it's the first 2 words in the page title, sorry, in the video title and in the page title. If you go and have a look, it's the same old rules. Nothing's changed. You'll see here, Fairfax Getup and Gina Reinhardt. In the URL, Fairfax Getup, Gina Reinhardt. And guess what? Guess what we've got on the page? Hey, we've got one of those H1, hey, I sound like Koshy now on Channel 7. We've got one of those H1 thingies that we've heard so much about that people poo-hoo and say don't do, whereas Google actually says do this H1. That's a heading one. And then we're talking about Fairfax, and we're talking about Getup in the actual story, and we have an image which just happens to be about Fairfax and Getup. It's a relevant result to the search that I just did, Fairfax and Getup. Hopefully that's helpful. Hopefully you love the voice, but I won't have it next week because we have an away match in Tasmania and I'm not allowed to use the same language at home when I watch it on the telly. See you next week. Thanks, guys. Bye.